What's up, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the firewall, where we highlight the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes
What's up? What's up?
and LeVon Maynard.
What up?
What is going on? So, this week we are kind of progressing towards some of the stuff we talked about last week. The government getting involved. Potentially, I made a prediction about some kind of deductions or protections the government may start giving people. May or may not be good. We'll talk about that later on in the week. But today, we're actually going to talk about a vulnerability. So with that being said, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So for this one right here, this is actually from scmagazine.com. And this is going to affect a lot of people out there, probably, especially with the pandemic and whatnot, right? Like when I read this off, people are going to be like, oh, no, maybe even one of the people in our group. We'll see. But vulnerability in Peloton bikes, one example of a more widespread security issue. Okay. So when you hear that, you're like, Peloton, like the ones in the commercial and everything. Yes, that Peloton, like the bike and treadmill company. So, what happened was they found a flaw in the Android verified boot process for the Peloton Bike Plus, which left the system vulnerable. So, what it is you can actually boot this system up. You know what I mean? And with an image that is not the one that's native to the bike, and you can start gaining access and doing things. Now for this vulnerability, I will tell you, to initially do it, you do have to actually have physical access to the bike. Okay, so this isn't like something they can do over the air or anything like that initially to set it up. But once they do this initial, they do have access to remote in and do things like that. So what it is this allows people to establish a reverse shell, right? So let's just say, for example, right, somebody gets into a Peloton factory, right, and they start going to these systems, booting them up, and they create this, they put this image in there and they create this reverse shell, right? They can ship the bikes after that, and from there, it's vulnerable. Like, so with these Pelotons, like there's all types of technology you can do with these. Like you can watch your Netflix, you can set up your Spotify, and that's where they can get you, right? Like they can put malicious apps on these systems. For people to log in and put their credentials in there, and then they can pivot from those like to do other things, right? So now, again, Peloton is one of those things that it has exploded, you know what I mean, over the last year and what, 3 months, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
since COVID is really in the United States anyway, right? Since things have really gone to where people were inside. And this is one of those things where Peloton's kind of getting a little bit of news lately for some safety reasons too, right? So this isn't what you really want to see. But when I looked into this, so like I looked into the CVE and everything, and I looked, and McAfee actually discovered this vulnerability. And from one of the articles I read from them, they actually reported it to Peloton back in March. So even though everything is showing up for June right now, they reported it to them back in March. Now they said Peloton was very open and very communicative for what they were saying and what they were reporting to them. But Peloton actually came out and they have a fix for this already, right? So I believe they do over the air updates. Correct me if I'm wrong on that,
They
Ryan.
do.
They do over the air
Mhm.
updates. So the update for it has already been put out to everybody, assuming that you've turned it on and done the update, right? Like I don't know, some people may just unplug it for safety reasons, right? And if it hasn't been on in 2 weeks or whatever, you may not have this update. But yeah, this is one of those things where it's like, oh man, like it's not just the fact that somebody can get onto your bike and make it go faster than you want to, or whatever, right? Like again, because you have other apps that are on this, like they could pivot from those as well, like get your information for your logins and things of that nature, right? um and here's the thing, right? Like if they get your Netflix login, right, like they can get your card information out of there, for your account, you know what I mean, start racking up credit card charges, doing crazy stuff like that. And one of the things with this is, when you think Peloton, everybody thinks the bikes. They also have treadmills as well that were
Yeah.
also vulnerable to this as well, right? So yeah, this is one of those, it's like, oh man, like a lot of people, I think they want to say it was something like 4.4 million customers or something like that for Peloton. Like just make sure you're out there doing what you need to do, and installing those OTA updates. I don't know if it's automatic or if you have to accept them or what, because I don't have a Peloton, right? I'm lazy. I'm not look, I've been retired for a little while. I don't have to do PT anymore. I'm not going to be running if I don't have to. So, but LeVon, what you got on this, man? What you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting interesting situation with Peloton. I mean, Pelotons are obviously getting more popular nowadays. I'm still not a part of the cool kids club with the Pelotons. I think there's a lot of
Mm-mm-mm.
the fancy people with they got excess money. 'Cause I know these things are expensive. And this kind of makes me think about, and I did mention in the article back when Joe Biden moved into the White House, he had the Peloton
Oh,
bike.
you got mine.
Oh, you got, oh yeah, yeah. So I knew you, I figured you would mention that. I thought about it as well, though. I mean, Joe Biden, he's probably one of the biggest names I know that has a Peloton. Um, but uh, they already have cameras and microphones on them. Um, I know that was the main reason why I think they didn't allow him to bring it into the White House. And you can imagine if for whatever reason, if I don't know, if he got a compromised Peloton bike and all of a sudden any kind of data that was put on there, or the camera and the microphone and all this kind of stuff was hacked, and some some unscrupulous individual outside had access to this to the bike's data, can connect to it and view and stream data from the bike while Joe Biden is working hard, sweating, and all of a sudden I don't know, they hear some conversation in the background or whatever, his wife or some Secret Service individuals or some security personnel or something like that, and they get all this data and being able to use it for whatever reason. But I just think that it's kind of um, it's one of those things, just like we've talked about before. These devices can be hacked. Anything can be hacked that has like a operating system, has data, especially these things that are connected to Internet of Things, that connect to our Wi-Fi's and stream data or upload and download data from the web. They can be hacked, and there's a chance that you can become compromised. So you got to be careful. Um, I want to put anything super sensitive on like a Peloton bike. I think the Netflix is probably as far as I go. I don't know if I'd put like, I don't know if there's things like you put in your credit card for like a Peloton subscription service. Um, I'm not sure if you put that directly into the bike or not, but anything where you're typing in like your information and you're not quite sure, uh, you know, if the device is secure, I would be questionable about. But Peloton seems like a big company. I'm sure they have a probably, I'm assuming they have a decent security department or a cybersecurity group that reviews their devices and tries to update them and keep them uh, with the latest and greatest. Um, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation. What you think about this, Ryan? I'm sorry, I took your topic of Joe Biden.
Yeah,
You can still talk about it
no,
though.
that's all good. But so we do have one. I've never seen it in person because of the pandemic, and when I left, there's delay, so we bought it. But luckily, my wife got it just for Christmas.
Mm,
Um, but she loves it,
dang.
like rides it like every single day. I don't know if it has a camera or a mic on it. I know it has a really nice screen on it, and obviously
Which
those apps.
which wing of the house
She,
did you put that in?
yeah, no.
sorry, sorry to cut you off there.
she it's what's it called, like she made it work where it's at, so kudos to her. Like she made her own little workout room out of a different room, but because you can't put it in the garage because it's the mechanics and whatnot, and then living in Florida, humidity would kill it. um so she had to keep it in the house, so but she made it work. She found like a whole little space to put it in, all that stuff. And she was encouraging me to get a tread when I came home, but the tread has issues where it's safety concerns and whatnot. And now I know it's also vulnerable. Plus, I'm lazy, so
Mm, mm,
I don't know if I would ever really use it. Like, uh, but yeah. So the Biden thing, I thought that was funny because the Secret Service was like, "Nah, you ain't bringing it in the White House." And it was like
mhm.
a whole thing they talked about. So now you see why. Um, but I don't think you can purchase things through it. I think really it would just be stealing obviously your accounts. So if you did watch Hulu or Netflix or whatever through it, as well as your personal data, like maybe you don't want people to know your private stats and things of that nature.
Mhm. Right. How
But
slow you're going, how fast. Now,
right, or like it's tracking your heart rate, stuff like that. Maybe it can correlate some stuff with your personal health information. Who knows?
right.
Like hackers are clever. Um, But it does remind me of something you said, that I never made a make those little security tip snippets or whatever. I never used it. Was for all your IoT devices, to include this one, put it on a separate network. So put it on a guest network, and it can keep you from pivoting into your your real network, like the bread and butter of your home. Because if you bougie like me, you got the smart home with the smart devices all spying on you. You just add another spy device to your house. And that, again, I don't know if it has a mic or a camera in it, because I've never seen it. But still, it's another entry point into your house. So, but thank you, Shannon, for clarifying that you have to have physical access to it first. So that does make me feel a little bit better. But obviously, a vulnerability, people just keep grinding on it until they find another way of getting in, right? But if you do have one and you use it as frequently as my significant other, then it's already passed itself. But if not, go ahead, plug that thing in and get your update to keep yourself safe and secure.
So like LeVon took your point and you took mine, because I was going to reference the guest.
Yeah, there you go.
Guess not Internet of Things. I was going to be like, LeVon, you mentioned this before. This is how you can. This is how you
That's
can
right.
remediate
pivot.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's some good information for sure. I forgot to mention that. I know we talked about it offline, but yeah, help keep your network safe. Just kind of use put your IoT devices on a guest network. But yeah, I think this is kind of interesting. I mean, I'm not rich enough to have a Peloton bike, but I think it's a good thing that that these things were discovered. And then it seems like it'd be kind of a low risk. I mean, I don't know how many people would, like, I guess, depending between the warehouse, wherever they ship them from, to when they get delivered. I guess somebody would be like in between, would be like, oh, let me open up this box and access the console and like upload my data, my new operating system, whatever, the image, and then have it delivered, and then wait for you to boot it up and all this kind of stuff. But
Well, it could be the person that assembles it in the house, though, right? So like if you have somebody, and maybe they don't do this. I know they do this for, like, if you do the mirror or the vault. Like, if I don't know if you guys have seen those.
Yeah.
Like, you can have a technician come out. Like, it's just as simple as them having a USB that has this image on it. Like, you may not even know. Like, if you're not technically savvy, if you're not looking over their shoulder or whatever, or if you just leave them to do whatever and just say, "Come get me when you're done," it could be them that just sticks it in there, puts that image on there, and then be like, you know what I mean? You're none the wiser.
Right.
Yeah, and they do assemble it for you. That is true. Why you got your pinky up? Like, put that.
That's right. Rub my feet when you're done.
Yeah.
I will need it in the West Wing facing south.
Oh man.
But no, that's all good info. And we haven't had a vulnerability that was being worked on in a while. I think the last one we talked about was Apple. Apple's having those issues where you can basically spy on people mid-conversation. So, you just never know. And again, I wish I had looked into the specs to see if it had a camera and a mic. I don't think so, but I would not be surprised. But I think it really is just the mechanics of the machine and the screen. And from what my wife told me, it actually will change the resistance and things like that. Like, you basically put on autopilot. So like your instructor is controlling the resistance on the bike and etc. So it's pretty cool. I love gadgets, so I can't wait to play with it. But they will be the my undoing.
Right.
Everything in that house is talking to each other. They're gonna team up on me sooner or later.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the article. I guess they do. Apparently, they do have mics, and I don't know if you can chat with your
with the instructor
or something like that, and be like, "Hey, hey, can you slow it down? I'm getting a little winded over here or something.
Yeah.
Hey, help me out."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that would be used for. It's crazy. Like, maybe if you're working out with a buddy, like online, like you can talk to them through their bike. I don't know. I got to research.
Right.
Maybe I should buy 2 Pelotons so I can ride my wife. I kid. I can't afford 2 Pelotons.
That's right.
And chance of me getting over here is slim to none. They'd be like, we're not shipping that there.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But with that being said, thank you, LeVon. Thank you, Shannon. Always good to talk to you guys. It's always interesting. Tune in throughout the rest of the week. We're going to get back into the government and things that they're doing to prevent cybersecurity crime and or help out those who have been hit with cybersecurity vulnerabilities and ransomware, things of that nature. So make sure you tune in through the rest of the week. And on Friday, we talk about non-cybersecurity things. We've all watched a movie, which we may or may not have liked, as well as we got some gaming topics and things of that nature because E3 just happened. So stay tuned, stay safe, and stay secure.
Take care.